What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We are hyped to bring you the Rams vs. 49ers recap. Matt and Anthony are here with me. Guys, that was the game that we had been hoping for this team all season. Matt, we had the preview live stream yesterday, and you were saying, look, this is going to be a Jimmy game. Jimmy's going to ball out. Obviously, we got that. What did you see from Jimmy Sunday that we hadn't really seen prior to that?
Just consistent ball placement, and I think that Kyle Shanahan did him some favors early by dialing up really short, really open throws to kind of build up his confidence a little bit, which he hadn't had. And the one thing that I saw from him throughout the game is that he was smiling. He was having a good time out there. He was relaxed. He was playing with some joy, and I think that has been absent a little bit, over the course of the season. You see him with a scowl on his face or staring daggers at somebody. And, it's really important to get a guy feeling good early because that can carry over to the rest of the game. So once they got him rolling early, you notice that, at the beginning, it was like everything was within a couple yards of the line of scrimmage, or it was those kind of shovel forward handoffs to Deebo Samuel and guys like that. But as the game went on, you saw that he was throwing a little bit more down the sticks. And so, Kyle did a good job getting him rolling early to kind of build that confidence so that he could, settle back into a groove over the course of the game.
Yeah, and Anthony, before we came on right now, you were talking about how the 49ers basically eliminated Aaron Donald from this game. How did they do that? Because he is a beast to deal with.
This is what Matt and I talked about right before this, was that they ran everything either away from Aaron Donald or just got those passes off quick enough just to neutralize Aaron Donald. And that, honestly, in my opinion, if you can stop Jared Goff in the play action on the offensive side of the ball and you can just simply stop Aaron Donald, because I personally don't feel like teams are as intimidated by Jalen Ramsey as some people think. Yeah, Jimmy didn't necessarily get off a lot of big, deep throws that Ramsey could have attacked, but we didn't hear Ramsey's name called all game other than a couple tackles on some run plays. So really what I'm saying is that Aaron Donald is that defense. If you can just get everything away from Aaron Donald or get quick passes off and keep Aaron Donald at bay, you have a good time or a good chance winning this game. And the Niners did that exactly. The only time we heard Aaron Donald called was when he wasn't doing anything. That was literally the whole game. So again, you neutralize Aaron Donald, you have a good chance of winning.
And, unfortunately, we did see Raheem Mostert get injured. And after that, which is what Jose pointed out here, the second half was just totally stall after stall after stall. The offense couldn't really seem to get anything going. Matt, was that more so on the absence of Raheem Mostert, or do you think that was just maybe momentum shifted and play calling changed a little bit, or was it a mixture of everything?
It's just what Kyle does. He gets a lead, and then he starts getting super conservative with the play calling, and it's almost like he's afraid to keep doing what's been working. And it's kind of disappointing that when Raheem Mostert goes out, the 49ers get 3 points in the second half. You'd like to see more. And, I've been talking about cargo plane. There ain't no jet here. It's cargo plane McKinnon. And I've been talking about JaMycal Hasty getting in there because every time I've seen him, he's quick, he's sudden, he gets to the hole. He has just that little bit of electricity that cargo plane doesn't have anymore. And, we're not dropping off supplies to the troops. We're trying to score touchdowns. And for me, I just don't think McKinnon's getting it done. I don't think that he is what we thought he was going to be. I think injuries have sapped a lot of what he was. And I think that we saw that with Hasty in there. There is big play potential. That run that he had to get that first down was a big play for him. He didn't look like the moment was too big. He protects the ball. He hits the hole fast. And, I'd like to see more of that going forward. It's weird that Raheem Mostert, for as good as he is, when he leaves, it seems to just stall the whole offense. So, yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of Hasty and a little bit less of cargo plane.
I love that you call him cargo plane.
I got that thing go, dude. Cargo plane, terrible. He's slow.
You called this back in week 2, or as soon as Mostert got injured, week one. You said that's cargo plane, that's not jet, and you've been spot on with that one because he's so slow. And the stats, he was averaging 3 yards a carry. He had 6 carries for 18 yards. Hasty came in and had 9 carries for 37 yards and averaged 4 yards per carry. And he had a 10-yard run as well. So Hasty just had that little extra bit to him that Jet Cargo didn't really seem to have. Now, Anthony, the defense, they played really well in the first half. In the second half, they kind of started to let up. They weren't as good in certain areas, although they did look good, like Jason Verrett, like I see Jose commented in the comments. What was the difference? Was it play calling, fatigue, or just kind of the way the game goes?
I think the defense took advantage of the offense scoring points on almost every other driver, just moving the ball efficiently. We talked about it once again before the show started. The 49ers had the ball for 21 and a half minutes in the first half alone, and the Rams only had it for 8.5. So that should tell you all you need to know about keeping the defense rested. And I think that's going to be kind of the story for the team this year, is that the defense, I think, is still solid. But if you're having to ask them to go out there after every 2-minute failures from our offense, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the defense, because you don't have a Nick Bosa, you don't have a D Ford, or as of right now, Richard Sherman, someone who can really make a stop or make some kind of play to kind of just keep the defense elevated. So the pressure is on guys like Armstead and Javon Kinlaw to go out there and execute. And that's not to say that they can't, but when that defensive line rotation isn't healthy and you're asking these guys to play a lot of snaps, obviously their efficiency and their effectiveness is going to go down. So I felt like that is what we saw in the second half. But I will say that the big story of it, outside of giving up that one pretty big touchdown, kind of when it really didn't matter, in my opinion, the defense still looked really good in the second half. They got the job done. And I'll tell you guys one thing that I'm really shocked about. The 49ers defense didn't sack Jared Goff once. And up until that touchdown, they had held him to 9 points. Obviously, the Rams came into this game kicking the crap out of the NFC East, but you would have figured that they would have taken that momentum into this game somewhat, and our defense basically throughout the whole game just expelled them entirely. And I feel like just everyone stepped up, especially Jason Verrett and Fred Warner. Just everyone did their job, and they did it beautifully.
Yeah, that's a good point. They did really well, and I liked what I saw out of Fred Warner, Jason Verrett. Emmanuel Mosley looked very good, although he had that kind of boneheaded touchdown that he gave up. Matt, on the other side, the story through 5 games had been the 49ers offensive line is Swiss cheese. They can't block a single person. Anthony, you predicted, I think Aaron Donald would break the record sack in this game. Matt, Jimmy wasn't sacked once. What was the difference tonight?
None of your predictions came true tonight, my friend.
They were all negative, so that's a good thing.
Right. I want to go back. I want to go back to defense real quick. I want to touch on this. And Anthony talked about it. No sacks, and we held them to 9 points until that late touchdown. And I think that is because everybody played their assignment, everybody filled their gap, and everybody made tackles. And so what I want to point out is I think it's time. Dre Greenlaw is getting ready to replace Quan Alexander. Quan Alexander is an extraneous piece. The team needs to get rid of him. He was not missed at all tonight. Not at all. They didn't even bring him up during the broadcast to say he was out injured. Nobody cared. Nobody said a word. So sorry, Quan. I think the writing's on the wall, and that's a shame because he has such potential and he's an athletic guy. But I would take the sure thing over boom or bust potential. Getting to the offense. The offensive line did a great job tonight. I didn't see any boneheaded plays from McGlinchey. It seemed like Tomlinson and Williams were talking to each other. And I think that, to be quite honest, I think that Kyle lit them up in practice. I think that they were lit up. The whole team got lit up in practice. 0-3 at home to this point. Bad losses to bad teams. And even tonight, for as great as they played, it just makes you, frustrated about the opportunities that they've given away. This team easily, with just consistent play, would be 5-0. They were right there in it with Arizona, even with, some of the injuries. If they just play consistently and play without mistakes, they could be 5-0. I think a lot of that has to do with Kyle finally, lighting a fire under them. And I think that they finally realized this isn't the 2019 team. We can't rest on our laurels. We have to get it done. Otherwise, it's going to be a short season, and, we're going to be talking about draft picks, But right now, it looks like New England's beatable. It looks like the Saints are beatable. And all of a sudden, you get this win, and maybe the momentum starts to build. Maybe this is the catalyst that lights the fire under the team for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think Kyle definitely tore into them this week. Even in the press conferences during the week, he looked pissed off. He looked like he was embarrassed almost to be the coach of this team after that performance against the Dolphins. And Anthony, I want to ask you about Jimmy's performance. I know I started off asking Matt about that, but he looked great. There were some times where he kind of got a little overthrows a couple of receivers, maybe got a little nervous in the pocket. But for the most part, he looked like the Jimmy that we were all anticipating going into this year. Is that the Jimmy we're going to see while the 49ers endure the rest of the 6-game stretch of this, gauntlet, essentially?
I think a lot of those passes that Jimmy G got off today, which were under 3 seconds, which was totally by design. Keep in mind that this offense came in knowing that Jimmy G, I'm sure he was still a little bit dinged up, but the whole design, whether he was hurt or not, would have been get the ball off in under 3 seconds. I don't doubt that from 1 second. And the thing is that Jimmy G executed that beautifully today. And obviously we're not going to go up against a pass rush that features guys like Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd all the time. But we do see that when it comes down to Jimmy G executing, getting that ball off fast, he can do it. And he did it beautifully. That's the bottom line. And I want to say the big thing that we really didn't see today, other than that one really bad end zone throw to Trent Taylor where he rolled out to the right, we didn't really see any of those bad Jimmy G throws that, Matt loves to say. Those are the Jimmy throws. We didn't see any of them, though, other than that one end zone play.
There was that swing pass to Hasty because Jimmy.
The one that sailed. Yeah.
Jimmy forgot that Hasty is a legal midget. I mean, a legal small person.
The point being,
is like 5'2", and he overthrew that. But no, other than that, yeah, he had a beautiful deep ball down the sideline to Ayuk that he put up there that Ayuk could have gone and got. He didn't get it. That's fine. Even on the pass that looked a little overthrown to Juszczyk kind of turned himself inside out, and I think if he would have just looked over his outside shoulder, he might have been in a better position. I'm not saying he would have caught it definitively, but I don't think the ball was as bad as it looked because Juszczyk kind of turned himself inside out and really slowed up on that ball. The end zone throw wasn't the best, but he also had like a couple drops. Kittle had at least one drop that I saw.
Bourne had like 2 or 3 also.
Bourne had 2, I know for sure. Kittle had the one that was like a straight up drop when Ramsey was on him in coverage on that 3rd down. The ball went through his hands, and there was a pass earlier on 2nd down that I guess you could call it drop on Kittle because it hit his hands, but it was well behind him. That was a bad ball from Jimmy. And then there was another one. He was targeted 10 times and had 7 catches. There was another one where it looked like it skipped off the ground in front of him that Jimmy didn't get enough or was under pressure, that it just didn't look right. So, to me, Jimmy played really, really well. I think other guys played well too. Like Kittle played well, but he didn't play fantastic. I think that Jimmy's stat line would even look better than it does, as it stands right now. Jimmy threw 23 of 33 for 268 and 3 touchdowns. So his quarterback rating was 124.3. But without those drops, we're looking at a 300-yard performance and, 70+% completion percentage, and maybe even a 4th touchdown to go with that. I know I called 4 touchdowns yesterday. I'll take 3 and no turnovers, which was my big one. I said no turnovers, and he didn't have a turnover. So, yeah, he looked really good. And again, I want to credit Kyle a little bit on that by starting him off with these easy plays. One of those touchdown passes really was like a shovel forward to Deebo Samuel, who took it in. But, getting Jimmy comfortable and in a groove is what the team needs to do. And they played an offensive style with Jimmy that is exactly what he needs to succeed. So I'd like to see more of that going forward.
All right. I want to touch on something real quick. This is what we saw from a team that we should have seen back in week 1 and week 2 and week 3. Every week we should have seen this. They're finally healthy on offense. We finally saw it. And look, the Rams, they're 4-1. I know they haven't had the toughest schedule so far, but look, they've won the games that they were supposed to win, unlike the 49ers. We can't say that for them. So the 49ers came in tonight, and you saw it in the pregame. Everybody but Tony Dungy picked the Rams to win. So the 49ers, I think, made a message by tonight by coming out and winning, especially in the way that they did. They said, look, we're not talking about the draft here in the Levi Stadium. We are looking forward to next week, and we're still talking playoffs. We're still talking reviving this season. And, Matt, we talked about it yesterday during the live stream. It all starts with Jimmy. And Jimmy balled out. I was so happy for him. And I think I texted you guys during the chat. Jimmy heard all of us. He heard us talking crap the whole week. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't unfair. It was rightfully so.
I mean, no disrespect or anything.
No. It was honest criticism. But he heard us and he responded, which is what you want to see so badly. My question for you, Anthony, is if we get this Jimmy that we got tonight moving forward, do you pick the Niners in every game?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so if I'm not looking at – okay, I'm going to take the easy way out here. If we're looking at teams like – I'm going to say them, the Packers, the Saints, the Patriots. These are all definitely winnable games. And if we get this version of Jimmy, it's the quarterback, man. Everyone knows that the quarterback puts the team in the best position to win or lose. And we saw what Jimmy G did today. And Kyle Shanahan, he opened up the offense early on. And we saw Matt talk about that, where he got Garoppolo in rhythm to really get the ball moving. And if you give Garoppolo that kind of rhythm and you give him that kind of confidence, I think he can really do a lot of things well in the offense in general. And yeah, the offense kind of stagnated in the second half, but I really, really think that's more on Shanahan than Jimmy and the rest of the guys. Matt said it best. That's kind of just Shanahan's thing. He likes to be conservative and just try and get the clock down as much as he can and just end the game fast. It's like, dude, keep the foot on the pedal, keep it moving. But if we can see the Jimmy G that we did last season, where he literally carried the team through 4 quarters of football, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm picking the Niners to finally win every game once again and not have to stress out anymore.
Matt, same question for you. Do you like the 49ers odds if Jimmy plays like he did tonight?
Well, I mean, I like their odds, but that's the big question, isn't it? If he plays that way. This can be the first game in a momentum build for Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, it has to be consistent. And that's the one knock that we've had, because he's had games that are really good like this before. But it's what you follow it up with. And I want to see more of this out of Jimmy Garoppolo. It can't just be, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back with him. He needs to play this way. And I think that, going into next week, that's going to be a big test too, because who knows him better than Bill Belichick?
Yep.
So,
that's good point.
we're heading to New England, and, that's one of those things where if I'll start to put a little bit more faith, I can't go from one foot out to all the way back in again, fool me once, shame on you. But for me, it's a good sign that Jimmy G responded. And I said that last night on the preview show, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a little fight in him. So I've seen that. Now I want to see consistency. Can you do it can you stack these good games on top of each other? And if you can do that, this is what I was talking about with playoff teams. Instead of being feast or famine, let's just be consistent. Just be consistently good. You don't have to be Patrick Mahomes or anybody like that. Just be consistently good. Don't kill the team with silly mistakes. And this team is going to be really good. Really, really good. So just stack it. Just be consistent. That's all.
I want to bring up a point real quick too, and Matt kind of talks about it best. The defense isn't in a position to bail out Jimmy G on those bad turnovers anymore. I'm not saying that Jimmy has to play perfect football for us to win games, but I will say that we cannot see him fumble or turn over the ball like we did see with Mullins and we saw with Beathard, and it cost the team badly. The defense isn't good enough to carry that load. So a game like today from Jimmy G, I agree with Matt. It puts me in a position to where I can start to build confidence that Jimmy G can carry us to victories. But again, the team is not in the position to, at least I think, make up off of an interception or a fumble, because you don't have Bosa, you don't have D Ford. Those are the big guys that really help to bail everything out. And it just happens. It's football. It's part of the game. But it's not.
I don't know if I count D Ford in that, by the way.
Yeah, I know he hasn't played too much.
D Ford is like the guy on the side of a milk carton, dude. Who's seen him? Where did he go? He's been missing.
He's missing.
Bad.
D Ford gone. He's going to be another guy. I think they're going to get rid of, by the way.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
he's gone.
The point being, though, I will say is that Jimmy G's consistency will be the X factor into determining the Niners' overall success. Yeah. The defense can only go so far as well as Jimmy G plays.
Yeah. I want to talk about the offensive line, because I brought this question up to Matt, and they looked fantastic. They did great. Jimmy wasn't sacked once. I'm not sure how many quarterback hits they got on him, but not much, especially compared to the last few weeks. They obviously got their behinds handed to them, to say it nicely, this week. But it was awesome. And I saw Mike McGlinchey tweeted out, "Still here." And it's like, I love that from you, Mike. We want to see that moving forward. That wasn't enough to shut everybody up. Obviously, Trent
Still
Williams.
There. Go eat a sandwich, bud. Go eat a sandwich.
Pack on some weight, get a protein shake. But we saw Mike. Trent Williams go down. It looked like, from what Matt, you agreed, it kind of looked like a concussion. Yeah, he went into the blue tent. But this offensive line, do you think it's finally starting to gel, Matt?
Again, consistency. I'm not willing to sell the farm the complete opposite direction just because they had a good game. I really need to see consistency. The Rams, outside of Aaron Donald, and I said this on the show last night, they're not really that great at pass rushing. outside of Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was their pass rush. They neutralized Aaron Donald by moving plays away from him, chipping him with double teams, and then moving off. And he really wasn't able to get into a rhythm to disrupt plays. Going forward, New England's not really a great pass rushing team, so they can continue to kind of build this. And again, confidence will kill a lot of issues on a team. You string together some good plays, and all of a sudden everybody's feeling good, and nobody's doing, like last week against the Dolphins, we saw Trent Williams barking at Laken Tomlinson, because they weren't playing well. This week they're playing well, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, everything's good. We're good here. So consistency is going to be key for this team going forward, and I think that really starts and ends with the coaches. I'd like to, I still not all positive. I really don't like seeing the Salah special in the second half, where they get conservative on defense and they give up these 3rd and long plays. And it happened again tonight. And it's, I just, again, consistency starts with the coaches. So Salah needs to button it up. I thought Kyle did a pretty decent job, although his play calling did get conservative after Mostert left. I think he was just trying to get out of there with a win. So going forward, let's see what happens. And honestly, if they're going to play like this every time they wear those 94 throwbacks, let's just change the uniforms to the 94 uniforms, like all the way. Let's just do it.
Yeah, shout out Ace Daddy for that comment, because that's true. That I think they're undefeated in these, if my memory serves correct. Anthony, my question for you is, George Kittle went off tonight as well. He was Jimmy's favorite target. He had 7 catches on 10 targets, over 100 yards and a touchdown. What did you see from him tonight? Obviously, he's a beast. Obviously, the guy can do it week in and week out. But he hadn't really done that much. I mean, I know when Nick Mullins came in Sunday night, he had a beast game because Nick didn't know to look to anybody else. But do you think George can start to put these performances back to back, like Matt is saying, for the offensive line, for Jimmy? Can the same be said for George moving forward?
Yeah, I definitely say so. And again, watching the Rams play the NFC least, as everyone likes to call it, I wasn't going to take the Rams' performances too personally. I mean, okay, I will admit that I thought the Rams were kind of going to kick our ass. But seeing how bad they played in the first half, it's like, okay, well, they really did play some terrible teams. And you saw that the Rams were able to lock up terrible offenses. And so you give Shanahan, who knows how to exploit that Rams defense like he did twice last year, it gives you the hope that he can utilize George Kittle to his full advantage. And I mean, yeah, Kittle had a couple missed blocks. He also had a couple drops. I mean, who doesn't? It's frustrating, but it's part of the football game. But overall, he doesn't let those kind of things get to his own head, and it doesn't impact his game. He will still go out there and be the game changer that he is. And we saw that from Kittle, and I think you give that kind of guy the opportunity to string together really good games. Not only does it build confidence for himself, but it builds confidence for the rest of the offense too. And yeah, Jimmy G finally has a lot of weapons to throw to now, and guys like Ayuk, Devo, obviously Kittle, Bourne when he's not dropping the ball. But it gives you even more confidence, I would say, that Jimmy G can really just zip a ball when he has that full leg strength back into George Kittle's hands and really just get that thing going. And we didn't really see the deep ball much from Jimmy today outside that one deep throw to Ayuk that I like personally. I'm glad he threw that ball. But overall, it wasn't the offense fully opened up yet. So you get someone like Jimmy G, that type of confidence, and build that rapport once again with George Kittle, you can really open up things. So, yeah, I would say that you have 2 straight good games from Kittle like this, or 3, I guess, because he was okay in Miami. You can really open the door for new opportunity.
I texted in the chat when it happened. We love that Jimmy just made the throw, gave his receiver a chance, like Anthony said. Why hasn't he done that before? And I know you obviously don't have an answer as to why. You can't get it in his head, but do you think that's something that maybe Kyle pulls him aside and says, give him a chance, just let him either make a play or draw the foul, or Jimmy just doesn't want to turn it over maybe? I mean, what's going on in that situation?
I just don't think they run those plays that much. That's not what you want. You don't want Jimmy to be throwing outside the numbers deep down the field like 8 times a game. He's not, he's not Matthew Stafford or anybody like that. That's not his game. His game is quick hitters, play action passes, cutting up the zone in between the numbers. So, and we saw him do that, especially with Kittle. Him and Kittle have this rapport where Kittle knows where to squat in the zone to get, just enough yardage, and it seems to work out. The deep ball, it looked better, and I thought NBC did a really good job. Chris Collinsworth pointed it out where they had tape of Jimmy G stepping into throws, and last week against the Dolphins, how much he picked up that back foot and wasn't able to step into throws, and they showed an early throw tonight where it looked normal again. So maybe there was more to the ankle in Miami than we thought, but I don't think it's a lot like the Derek Carr situation. We don't really have these like burners down the field. Even Ayuk really isn't just a straight line burner. That's not what this offense is built around, and that's not what Kyle Shanahan wants to run. You know, it's not. There's no Henry Ruggs. There's no Tyreek Hill on this team. So you know why. You know, every now and again you can throw that pass, but you're not going to do it multiple times a game, and you don't need to do it multiple times a game. You need this. This offense thrives on chunk yardage and getting first downs and moving down the field. That's what they do. So that's probably why we haven't seen it. It's not to say that he can't do it. I saw him do it in college. We've seen it, you know, this year. We've seen it a couple times. He had one earlier in that Jets game, I think, to Kendrick Bourne that Kendrick Bourne just dropped. So he had another one. And specifically down that left sideline, he seems to like to throw a little bit more to that side than he does to his right side.
Right.
But, you know, overall, he just, you know, he's a chain mover, and that's what we need. He's an efficient, you know, especially in that 10 to 20 yard area in between the numbers. He's pretty efficient there, and he's efficient, you know, outside the sticks on short throws, and that's all we need. That's really all you need to move this offense.
That's what I want. I want to chime in on that real quick too. Ayuk and Debo, they're quick, shifty guys, but they're not big, long speed burners like a Ruggs or like a even Marquise Goodwin when we had him. And the thing about Shanahan's offense is they've never necessarily had that big contested catch guy who can just go up and snag a ball out of the air. And yeah, I mean, you'll see Debo do that every once in a while, and Kittle will do that as well. But overall, these guys they're not those type of wide receivers. They go out there, they move the chains, they feast in the middle of the field, and they make plays with the ball in their hands after the catch. Shanahan's been like that the entire time. And it's kind of baffling to me, I guess, that people have been calling and wanting that type of wide receiver in this offense for so long, when it's like that's never been Shanahan's thing for the vast majority of his offensive career. So you have guys like Kittle and Debo who can just constantly move the chains and put pressure on that defense. Good things are going to happen.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I want to address this comment here by Jose. The offense just looks different. Mostert is in. It's like losing an arm, though. And we saw that in the second half when he did go out. The 49ers went 3 and out, I think 2 or 3 straight times. And I think I tweeted out, it's unacceptable. You can't do that because your defense is already gassed as it is. They're likely fatigued. They're playing with, you know, a lot of key starters out, and you're asking them to go back out there after extended drives to where the offense just gives you 3 plays, a couple of minutes rest, and then you're trying them back out there. So that I want to see them improve on, because there were ample opportunities for Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy, to put the dagger in the Rams, to stick a fork in them and say, we're up 3 scores now. Good luck, guys. And they didn't do that. They didn't do that time and time again. And honestly, I was sitting on my couch kind of biting my nails thinking, this might come down to the final second, and the 49ers recently have not come out, you know, in the positive when it comes down to the final second. So I want to see them improve on that. Although in the end, they were able to at least get a Robbie Gould field goal and push it out to 2 scores, push it to 15.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anthony. You want to chime in?
That's what he gets for not putting Hasty in, man. Hasty is so electric. I know people will say that, oh, Hasty doesn't have that type of long speed that Mostert does, and that's fine. But again, Shanahan has these guys in his offense for a reason. And I firmly believe that although Hasty, I do think, is a lot shiftier than McKinnon was before the injuries, Hasty is still obviously and clearly the better back than McKinnon at this point. And I'm sorry, I like what Jarek has to offer, but if you gave me the choice right now to have JaMychal Hasty or Jerick McKinnon spell Raheem Mostert, I got to give it to JaMychal Hasty, man. He brings that energy and electricity that Jet just can't anymore. And he's a good change of pace guy who can just put linebackers on their damn asses because he cuts so fast.
Yep, that's true. Matt, I want to
say this, though.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think that, you know, it's a little bit overstated with the offense in the second half because there were good play calls that were just drops. Bourne dropped the first down when he undercut the guy that picked off his man and just flat out dropped it. Kittle had a drop for a first down. Like, there were drops here that could have extended drives. So it's not only just on the offense as far as play calling or just Jimmy Garoppolo. There were things that needed to be cleaned up. And I'm looking at Semperfi's comment. He can be our deep threat, but I disagree that Jimmy couldn't get it to the throw, because the throw that Jimmy threw to Ayuk was on target, and Ayuk was a little too inexperienced to draw contact with the DB to go up with it. You saw him reach around the DB with his arms rather than undercut the DB with his body to jump up and get that ball. And with experience, he might have been able to go and make a play on that, but it just wasn't there. So it's not that Jimmy can't do it. It's just that you don't need him to do it. You shouldn't have to do it. That's not what the offense is built around. And a Shanahan offense, I mean, we saw it on the broadcast tonight. They're talking about the Bill Walsh coaching tree. The Bill Walsh coaching tree isn't about throwing it up the sideline. That's not what this is about. It's a West Coast offense, predominantly run-based and play-action pass-based. Like, that's what it is. It's a short to intermediate throwing offense, and we don't need it to be anything more than that. We just need to maximize the efficiency of that offense, and we can't have the drops or the bad Jimmy throws or the lapses in blocking. And if we have those, then we can take some deep shots. So, that's where I stand with that. He can be a deep threat, but you don't need him to be a deep threat all the time. I'd rather him be an intermediate threat and a changeover.
Right. I want to touch on another one of Separate Five's comments. Barrett and Mosley starting quarterbacks going into next year, maybe the rest of this season. After this long, I doubt Sherman is coming back 100%. Yeah, he's likely, I don't know, I don't want to say shut down for the season, but he's not going to be the same Barrett, at least even back to last year, or excuse me, same Sherman going back to last year with this injury. He's already getting older. But they said it during the broadcast too. Look at how good this defense is just with one solid starting corner, let alone two. Emmanuel Mosley looked fantastic tonight. He had a couple really good pass breakups, and I know he gave up that kind of late-minute touchdown, last-second touchdown to Josh Reynolds, I believe, and he also got called for pass interference and the same altogether, but he still looked good for the most part, and he was, I don't know, you would like to see him get his head turned around, but nonetheless, this defense looked good, and as long as they have these two guys going forward, Anthony, do you like their chances as a defense? Because they were getting shredded just a week ago by Fitzmagic, who was out there looking like Patrick Mahomes.
Brian Allen.
Yeah. I will say it was pretty bad from the Dolphins, obviously. Brian Allen probably shouldn't suit up as a 49er ever again, with all due respect. But I'll tell you, I love what Sherman has to offer, but part of me wants to be a little skeptical. And the only reason, I'm not trying to kind of put everything down here, but the only reason is that a lot of the success last year was based on that pass rush. And we've seen that Sherman, he's lost a step, or not to say he's lost a step because we've hardly seen him, but you can picture that his play will eventually regress and he will slow down as he gets older. So the only question I want to raise is how much did Sherman benefit off that pass rush from last season? And that's not to say he still can't execute going forward this season, but obviously the situation's different. The personnel are still there for the most part, but again, everything is different. I want to see Sherman back in there because Sherman is still a vast upgrade over Emmanuel Mosley. But the moment Sherman gets toasted, or the moment Sherman just loses that one step on any given play, everyone's going to call for his head and say, oh, well, Sherman's old. Sherman was based off the defensive line. And I don't know, maybe I'm just looking into it too much. But I will say that once Sherman comes back, Sherman and Verrett 100%.
Yeah, definitely. They looked really good tonight. And it was nice to have starting cornerbacks that weren't getting picked on and abused out there, man. I felt so bad for Brian Allen. I wanted to pay to have him see a counselor after that game because it was so bad. Matt, my question for you is the 49ers rookie first-round pick, Javon Kinlaw, he's yet to have a sack. I don't believe he had one tonight. I know he didn't have one going into tonight.
It's not his job.
Is that how you feel about it?
He's not a sack guy. No, he's a run stuffer. He had a pass deflection. So
yep, that's true. Yeah, and it was almost picked off.
I mean, he's a space eater, dude. He's 6'5" and like 8 feet wide. Like, he's a space eater. He's not rushing off the edge. Like, everybody expects defensive tackles to be Aaron Donald. There's a reason Aaron Donald's Aaron Donald, because nobody else is like him.
They said on the broadcast
generate a lot of sacks. Yeah, you're not going to generate a lot of sacks up the middle. What you're trying to do is you're trying to make the quarterback uncomfortable and push him towards the edge rushers so they get the sacks. And you're supposed to run stuff. And, I thought that he had some mental errors tonight. He had a couple of penalties on him that that weren't that good. But, he's a rookie and it's going to take time. So I think that he's doing a pretty good job. I'm not that upset about it. So, yeah, I'm not that mad. But as far as like Verrett, I don't know, man. Everybody's asking like right now. They saw tonight. Yeah, see, re-signed Verrett over Sherman. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I think y'all are falling victim to the great performance in a contract year.
The recency bias.
Well, I mean, he's only had one healthy season in like 6. So I honestly don't trust his health. I'm just counting this as like icing on a cake. Like whatever we get out of him, fantastic. But if he plays himself into a big contract, let him walk, because it's not worth the risk to. He's injury prone, and he hasn't been this year, but that doesn't mean that he won't be going forward. People don't get more healthy as they go throughout their career. So
I think you can argue at this stage, Sherman and Verrett are both injury prone. And obviously Sherman is taking a little longer to recover from this calf strain that he's had since week 1.5, basically. And Verrett, albeit his play has been excellent right now, like Matt says, you can't bank on this dude being healthy on top of playing a contract year where 99% of players notably play better in contract years. So it's obviously a foregone conclusion, but I don't
think Sherman's injury prone though. I would
push back
against Sherman being injured. No, he had one major injury, the Achilles tear, and they're taking it slow with a calf injury, which could turn into Achilles if you're not careful with it.
Okay,
that to me is not injury prone. Them being cautious because you don't want to rush him back, because then you have a Kevin Durant situation where you come back too early and then you blow the Achilles. You know what I mean? Like you don't mess around. Achilles is a major thing. If you don't feel like it's right, don't risk it, especially as a player is getting up there. But other than the Achilles, it's not like he misses a ton of games. Like his season sheet is pretty full.
Right.
So I don't agree that he's injury prone, but I do think that he's lost a little bit of his athleticism, and I do think that he's living off of his reputation and people just don't throw at him. I do think that he's an incredibly smart player, though. So for me, for that reason, I think that he's a little bit more valuable than Mosley at this stage, just because his experience is just so valuable. And if he was willing to go to safety, I think he could extend his career a couple of years just by playing. If he was the center field out there working in space, I think that he could make plays on a ball. But I don't know if he's going to do that. I think his ego is a little bit out of control for that. So not in a bad way. I just think that he has a level of pride that's not going to allow him to be put in a position that he would see as a downgrade. I'm actually more excited to get K'Wan Williams back, who I think is the best cornerback that we have on the team. So that's who I want to see back.
Yeah. I want to address this comment here by Jose. He'd like to mention that Brunskill nullified Aaron Donald. He vanished Donald on his one-on-one duels. So great job from the big guy comparing to his last game. We all heard about Aaron Donald going into this game. Even it felt like throughout the game, the broadcasters were acting like Aaron Donald was having a career night. They still kept mentioning him, talking about where he was. It's like I may be mistaken, but the guy really hasn't done much. The 49ers did a pretty good job of eliminating him. He didn't have any sacks. He didn't have too many pressures, I don't think. So, Anthony, what did they do to mitigate that problem? Because he wasn't an issue at all. He was a non-factor.
Yeah, man, I think those broadcasters must have read my article and thought, Donald's getting 7 sacks for sure. They're ready for Donald to break out. But, no, man, it's all about getting that pass off fast. I mean, the offensive line was really good given the entire situation. I mean, for Jimmy Garoppolo to get passes off in less than 3 seconds, the offensive line better hold a block for less than 3 seconds. But considering how crap poor the line has been playing all throughout the season, I would say their play after tonight was an intense improvement going forward. And just like Jimmy Garoppolo building his own confidence up, this should build confidence up for the offensive line moving forward. Like Matt said earlier, you saw guys like Trent Williams and Laken Tomlinson just barking at each other last week, and now crickets. And obviously that's a good thing that they're not arguing with each other, but the bottom line is that they're finally establishing that kind of chemistry. So even when you can't communicate and pass off blocks correctly, it does give guys like Brunskill confidence to go up there and think that, it's Aaron Donald. Obviously you got to play it safe, but it doesn't, that fear factor involved with dealing with Aaron Donald wasn't there. It felt like that no one panicked with Aaron Donald. Everyone picked up their assignments that they were supposed to do. The cohesion was there. And like Matt said, it's Aaron Donald or bust. And that's exactly how they played it today. And once you shut down Aaron Donald, you shut that entire defensive line down, and you can do whatever you want. Obviously, it didn't seem like they manhandled the Rams, but they damn well executed their job, and they did it very good.
They manhandled them.
They did.
They had the ball for 37 minutes.
Yeah. Matt, I'm going to give you an option, a chance to respond.
Put this one up. Put this one up. I'm going to look at you, Coach. I'm going to look at you in your eyes. Jason Verrett got drafted in 2014. You know how many games he's played in his career? 29. Since 2014. He's never played 16 in a season. His high is 14, and that's the only season he played double-digit games in a season. Don't tell me he's not injury-prone, and don't tell me he's not a health risk, because he is. He's going to play himself out of San Francisco because he's playing really well right now. He's not worth the risk if he's going to be big-time money. If you can bring him back on a value deal, absolutely sign him. But the way that he's playing, someone's going to be dumb enough to throw some money at him, some big money, and it can't be us. We can't afford it.
No.
So, no offense. I appreciate everybody's, but when you look at the numbers, I'm not like saying I'm anti-Verrett. I'm just looking at what the reality is. And as a medical professional, I know that you don't get more healthy, especially with the wear and tear that he has on his lower body. Most of his injuries are lower body injuries. So, to me, 29 games in 6 seasons, that's not good, dude.
That's not good. I will say, just to kind of defend it, like if you're choosing between Verrett and Sherman, I think I would go with Sherman based on, whatever's most team friendly. But I will say, I think if Verrett can string these kind of games together, obviously given his age too, and just obviously the injury.
It's like a Terrell versus Terrell Owens thing right here.
yeah.
Verrett, dude. Verrett, not Verrett.
I think
does not rhyme with ferret, sir.
Verrett's ceiling.
There you go.
As a corner right now, I would say is healthier compared to what Sherman is at. But if I'm the 49ers, man, and they don't have money to throw around given everything going on, I just can't look at throwing Verrett a lot of good money if it means that we don't know if we're going to get 16 games or 1 game. Whereas Sherman, like
right now.
Whereas Sherman,
my man, coach, killing me right now, man. He's killing me.
Oh no,
we'll agree to disagree, but the past does matter. Pass does matter. You don't think like a dumb team like the Jaguars is going to throw somebody at him? Come on, man. We've seen bad contracts all throughout the league. We've seen it. Albert Hainsworth, anybody? I'm not saying he's going to get like Jalen Ramsey money, but I'm saying if somebody's going to toss him like $8 or $9 million a year, that's too expensive for this team. If somebody gave him a 2-year, $18 million deal, that's too expensive for this team.
Yeah. All I'll say is I think he would maybe take a hometown discount in this sense, just because, and it's not really.
I would hope so, since they gave him a shot.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. They gave him a shot. They gave him plenty of time. They saved him last season when he got burned on his first snap at however long, and they said, "Oh, he's injured. Don't worry about that. We'll give him even more time to get healthy." Now that he's healthy, he's playing well. I don't think he's the type of guy that would say, "Thanks for everything. Now I'm going to go get a bag over in Jacksonville, over in Miami." No, I think he would likely say, "What can you do for me?" And maybe my agent can work something out. He would at least consider it. I don't think he would just leave right away.
Yeah.
I
just think for a big money deal, it's too risky for him. It's too risky. He's going to get injured again. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. He's been injured, and the past does matter when it comes to accumulating injuries. He's at risk for early arthritis in all of his joints. He's at risk of losing his explosiveness earlier because he's had multiple surgeries. This is not the past doesn't matter thing. It absolutely does matter. And again, if you can sign him to a very friendly deal, bring him back. I'm saying if the money isn't right, let him walk. Let somebody else. He's not so vital to this defense going forward that we need to re-sign him at all costs. I'd rather sign Tart, honestly. Because Tart's going to be a free agent. I'd like to see Tart back. Or K. I think K1's a free agent too. Resign K1.
They're both huge pieces to this defense. What about this comment here from David Yang, Anthony? All the Sherm hate, he doesn't need speed to cover. Sherm beats by knowing your playbook. When's the last time you've seen somebody smoke Sherm for a touchdown? You haven't, so knock it off.
That's the wrong question to ask at the moment.
Sammy Watkins in the Super Bowl, homeboy. Yeah. Sammy Watkins in the Super Bowl.
I'm not going to say that Sherman is a bad corner. I mean, I personally think he gets the criticism that he deserves, and that's just what happens when you age out at cornerback and you have an Achilles tear. It just Matt knows it best, man. You see what happens to guys who tear their Achilles all the time.
Sherman was burnt toast in the playoffs. Devontae Adams took his ass leave.
That's the point. Is that
he gave up 2 touchdowns.
I think knowledge and smarts can only carry you so far, especially as a cornerback. Right. And I think that's why a move to safety, I think, would benefit him definitely in the long term. And it's not hating him. It's just you got to look at the long-term picture for the Niners, man. If the Niners want to compete, I don't want 84 Madden speed Sherman as my number 1 quarterback going forward.
Simplify. If I'll tell you right now, if some team doesn't give Verrett like money that he shouldn't get, if some team doesn't overpay for him, I'll send you some merch personally. I will send you out of my own damn pocket. I'll buy you a jersey.
All right.
I'll buy you a jersey.
Here first. 10:18, 9:35 p.m. Wager has been made between Semperfi coach and Matthew Llewellyn. So,
and all I want in return is if I'm right, I want you to be like, you know what, you were right. That's it. That's all I want.
All right. I want to address this comment from Ace Daddy's question. What did you think of Marcel Harris at safety since Tart was hurt? I thought he did an all right job. I didn't think that he came in and they automatically started, targeting him and trying to abuse him. We've seen him play extended periods of time previously, so it's not like he was thrown in here without any experience.
He's not scrubbed.
Think he did all right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was, God, I can't remember the receiver. I think it was Robert Woods, but he played stride for stride with one of the receivers on a deep ball that was incomplete. And like, he was there. He had arm up, ready to go. I think he did miss one tackle on a run, but I mean, outside of that, coming out cold, I don't think he did a bad job, and I don't think he's really ever done that bad a job. And I think when he's filling in for Tart as opposed to Ward, I think it's better for him if he can be concentrating more on being a thumper in the box safety rather than a purely coverage guy, being responsible for center field. I thought he did a pretty good job. So hopefully, it sounds like Tart will probably be okay. I think they shut him down early, the same reason like they shut down Mostert and the reason they shut down Trent Williams. It's just like, you're already up. Get those guys out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. And did you see anything from Mostert that would make you concerned moving forward, Matt? I don't know if you got a chance to check out how he got injured or when he got injured.
No, yeah. I didn't see how he got injured, but the fact that he went in cold at halftime and tried to come out and play tells me that it's just like something that's like kind of irritating rather than debilitating. So hopefully it's not, hopefully it's just a typical run of the mill, I rolled my ankle somehow type of play, and that he'll be back. So if not, Hasty season, that's what I want to see. JaMychal Hasty, get him more involved.
Yeah.
Zach, I want to ask you the question because I want to hear more from you. How about Fred Warner, dude? Fred Warner still remains to be one of the most underrated players, I think, in the entire NFL in terms of linebacking play and in terms of defensive play. What did you see from Fred Warner tonight, and where do you just stand with him, man? Where do you feel he's at right now on the NFL tier list?
He's at the top. He's at the top without a question. To me, Fred Warner is the best inside linebacker in the entire NFL. He proves it week after week. He is the most consistent player on this team. There's not a single defensive snap that you can see where Fred Warner is not on the ball, by the ball, in pursuit of the ball. He's always right there. He's always in the picture. And his sideline to sideline speed is unmatched on this team, especially on this defense. He is fantastic. He's a leader of this defense, which is awesome because you're hoping for somebody to step up and say, look, guys, we're going to be all right. We lost a lot of key pieces, but we're going to be all right. He's a top linebacker, man, and he's the best in the NFL. I would argue that. Do you guys agree, disagree?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's middle linebacker for sure. And he's just consistently everywhere you need him to be. Rarely makes mistakes. Pure sideline to sideline guy, super quick.
Amazing.
Reads the defense well, calls the defense well. Really good. I'd also like the spotlight, by the way. Dre Greenlaw, I think, has improved leaps and bounds in the second year. Yep. He's looking like he's going to be a guy. So between Greenlaw and Warner, I think, man, it's a good linebacking core. For sure, it's a good linebacking core.
Yep. Greenlaw has been such a stud, and he's such a complete surprise when he came out of college. The 49ers drafted him. Nobody really expected much from him. At least I didn't know of him much in college. The guy, I think he has a ceiling relatively close to where Warner's ceiling is. Do you think I'm overestimating it here? Because he looks really good.
I don't think he'll ever be as good in coverage as Warner is. But what he really does do well is he doesn't give up extra yards. Usually where he hits a guy, that's where the guy stops.
Yep.
He's not getting anything else. When Greenlaw, and he also is a very good fundamental tackler. He wraps up.
Yep.
We saw that he made a tackle in coverage today that would have been a first down had he not actually wrapped up the leg and held him up. Yep. So I can't overstate in the heyday of the Harbaugh era and the linebacker era in San Francisco, where we had Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis. the hallmark of those two guys was that they always wrapped up. It wasn't this like thumping tackle thing that I see a lot out of Quan Alexander. This was, I'm wrapping you at your waist. You're not going anywhere else. And if you decide to stay standing up, then my boy over here is going to come and clean your shit. Like, it's just going to knock you out. So get down. That's what it has to be. I don't want to see too many teams. And this is not a 49er specific thing, but I think too many teams now, it's like that shoulder into them and then they don't wrap. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with making a wrap up tackle. No, it's not, the ESPN highlight that you want or whatever. But guess what? You're stopping first downs that way. So I'd rather have fundamental tackling than the big thumper.
I want to touch on that too. I think that's what separates Dre Greenlaw from Quan Alexander is that Dre Greenlaw, obviously, I think is just the more complete linebacker compared to Quan. But Greenlaw won't go out there and cost you 30 or 40 yards off of a missed tackle, where I felt like that Quan will have very good plays, don't get me wrong, but it feels like that when he has those bad plays, they stack on top of each other and the whole thing just kind of implodes just off of Quan Alexander's play. So when you have a guy like Matt says, like Dre Greenlaw, who is just so fundamentally sound and who can wrap up, who may not be the best in coverage, but he won't go out there and absolutely screw the defense, it really makes you see the big picture and makes you realize how expendable I think Quan is.
Yeah, and we saw them get off the field on 3rd and long a few times today because they were wrap-up tackling. It wasn't that situation we saw in Game 1 against Arizona where it's 3rd and 17 and Quan was like, wait, does he pass the line of scrimmage? I'm going to keep running with this guy. Oh, no, he's running. Oh, too late. You don't want to do that. Red and gold, man. You just don't want to give Jimmy any credit, do you?
Dre Greenlaw, I forget if it was the 3rd or 4th quarter, Greenlaw had a huge open field tackle on like a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9. And if he didn't make that tackle, I'm almost positive that it would have been a first down. But we saw it. He kind of overran the guy a little bit, but he corrected, fixed it, cleaned it up. And that was the entire thing. And that's
what
literally what
strong arms are for.
Yeah, that's exactly what strong arms are for. And
that's why, by the way, that's why I never liked Solomon Thomas, because he had those little baby hands. Like having big, strong hands actually helps you finish when you over pursue a little bit. That's why I never liked Thomas, but Greenlaw's got grip, man. Like he grabs on, he doesn't let go. And it's really impressive. If Greenlaw can get a little bit more consistent in coverage, which I don't think is a mental thing. I think really what happens is he has a bit of a agility issue. I think he has agility, not issues, but limitations. I think he's not really a true sideline to sideline guy. I just don't think he has that type of speed. But he's very fundamentally sound. And if he can get to where he's going and develop more of the mental side of it and anticipation, I think he could actually really improve in coverage.
He's definitely not a 3-down linebacker yet, but you see his game developing and you see his game evolving to where it seems like that more often than not, you will see Greenlaw on 3rd down plays at some point, and that gives you a lot of confidence that Greenlaw can just go out there and execute. And that's kind of what the team does with Quan Alexander, is that Quan Alexander is so above average in coverage that he can play on 3rd and longs. But the thing is that when he busts it, it leads up to something huge. I feel like Dre Greenlaw won't be that type of guy, especially once he puts it all together. Then once he gets it together, then we can really see how effective he can be.
We saw Greenlaw have that nice tackle in the end zone where I think it was the Rams, right? I don't remember which one it was, but he was, going forward, momentum going forward. Yeah, and he hit him hard. And as soon as he hit him, Matt, just like you said,
stop. Just
no more yards.
No more.
Yeah. and I think Chris Gondry even said it. It's similar to the tackle that he had in Week 17 in Seattle last year, where they weren't moving. As soon as Greenlaw hits you, he lays down that hammer. And it's really something to see, because a team that has struggled from poor tackling year after year, it seemed like going into this year too, it's nice to see somebody who has such sound fundamental tackling skills that just brings you back to basics, just old school, hard tackling. And I really want to see more out of that from this team, because like you said too, Matt, you see too many just shoulder hits. It almost reminds me of Deshaun Goldston and Dante Whitner, where they were going for the big hits instead of the sure tackle. And it really frustrates me.
Goldston played in the era, though. Goldston played in the era where you could go head to head with people. Like, you could go helmet to helmet. Man, I remember that play against Tampa. He lit dude up like murder. I thought the guy died. I was like, damn, he hit him so hard. Speaking of hitting a dude hard, how about Jimmy Garoppolo lowering his shoulder on a cornerback tonight?
That was nice.
Yeah.
Not bad.
A lot of confidence, man. A lot of confidence. And that shows me that he's going to go out there and take a hit. He is. Yeah. I don't think he'll be, it won't be like Kansas City a couple years ago, but he'll still go out there and lower his shoulder and initiate contact. And if there isn't anything more than you see as an offensive player, then your quarterback going out there and laying the hammer on the linebacker or whoever was a DB, that should go out there and just spark the offense entirely. And when you see that from your quarterback of all people, I think that sends a message to the entire team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew he was feeling good when they ran that sneak and Jimmy got like 3 yards. I was like, oh, geez, like untouched 3 yards. Just like, okay, we're good. I was like, oh, he's ready to go. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
And you can tell. I mean, Jimmy played a really good game tonight. And, I don't want to take anything away from him. I thought he did a good job. So I want to see more of that going forward.
And Matt, it looks like Red 3 Gold added him after you called him out on not having Jimmy in there. He added Jimmy.
Hey, you know what? He didn't.
You said that in the preview yesterday. I got to give you credit for that. You said he's going to have a turnover-free game, and he's going to
be a touchdown short.
Touchdown short.
He had 3.
Yeah. If Mostert stays in, maybe he has that 4th one because some drives stalled.
Right.
And earlier when I was saying
about the drops.
Earlier I was saying about the offense stalling. I didn't mean mainly on Jimmy or Kyle. I meant the drops are included in that. That's just simple stuff you need to clean up to where if you want to win these games moving forward, you cannot continue to keep the opponent stay in the game, to let them stay in the game because you can't convert on 3rd down. So the drop need to be cleaned up. KB, even Kittle had a drop there at the end on 3rd down. So they just need to clean up these things going forward. But I think tonight we can all say the season's not over. And that's positive because
1 week at a time, though. 1 week at a time.
But it survives for another week. I'm not in a black suit and tie today because we are not laying to rest like we did last week.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to this week, though, because our boy Scott Gielan, man, if they go out there and they terrorize Cam Newton, I'm going to give him so much shit. I'm telling you right now, I'm coming for you, Scott. Fig Newton, soft.
And
no, they didn't look good against the Broncos today. They looked terrible.
It looked really
bad.
That's
a very winnable game.
Maybe he's still suffering from COVID symptoms. Who knows? I'm not going to speculate. But regardless, they looked really bad. He made some horrible throws. He missed some horrible throws. And I really liked – if you would have told me a couple of weeks ago when the Patriots played the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football, I would have said, oh, man, these guys are going to kill us. It's going to be 30-0. But I actually like the 49ers' chances now after seeing what we saw today. They looked really bad. And I think the 49ers could take – even though it is in New England.
Zach, let me ask you a question. You said he might be suffering still from COVID symptoms. Does that include shitty fashion sense?
I think it does. I think they just added that. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Or font choice too. Or font choice.
Font choice.
Oh man. Oh my God. His Instagram. Oh my goodness.
Scott's somewhere punching the air right now.
That's bad. Daddy, I disagree. It's not that Cam has a noodle arm. It's that he's that guy that goes out on the golf course and just sprays driver shots everywhere. Like he'll hit it 300 yards, but you don't know if it's going straight or if it's like slicing 80 yards to the right. He's very inaccurate.
He secretly has that Phillip Rivers arm motion, man. That thing is just his throwing motion is so wacky.
His mechanics are weird, really, really different this year. Weird. I don't like him.
Something's going on there, but I like the 49ers' chances in that game, given what we saw tonight. If this team shows up like they did tonight, I think they win it by a wide margin. I think we're going to start wrapping it up here, guys. It is getting late. I know all of us have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
so send in your questions before we wrap things up. I want to touch on here, Red 3 Gold. 7, Kendrick Bourne for dropping wide open passes once again. Hey, Matt, we talked about consistency.
It seems like it.
There is some consistency. Kendrick Bourne, the most consistent
player. The maddening thing with Kendrick Bourne is that he'll make the most difficult catch and then drop the layup like the next time. Like,
yep.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Semper Fi. Yeah. We weren't. I mean, it was a joke mainly. I don't know. Who cares? It is what it is. Really
that important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least Bourne is consistent. Yeah, consistent negatively, but it's consistency, which is, I guess, what you want to see. The thing about Kendrick Bourne is it's so frustrating because he has all the talent. He has the physical traits. He's fast enough.
Some of them. But
he just the mental mistakes just piss me off because it's like, dude, you are arguably the 4th best wide receiver on this team. And you need to take advantage of these, because if you do, you likely get a nice check with another team going forward. And
Trent
he just
Taylor
seems to
exciting tonight.
Hey, Trent Taylor did all right, man, from what they asked of him.
First
a couple
down.
targets.
Down catch. That huge catch.
Wait, speaking of Trent Taylor, man, you know your punt return was garbage when they take you out and put in Trent Taylor. I got to say, I really miss Richie James' terrible punt returns this season, and I'm so glad I got to see one tonight.
He had like an 8-yard return.
There was one that was all right.
He had like an 8-yard
He had like 30 yards in front of him, and he just like danced in place for 3 seconds.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
He had wide open space. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run into my blocker. That's cool."
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Coach, appreciate the love. We appreciate all you guys tuning in like always. If you guys don't know, we do a show on YouTube throughout the week, Tuesday through Thursday. We go out. Tuesday, we will do our Overreaction Monday show. So we get overreactions that we see online and react to them on Tuesday. Yeah. So if you guys see any overreactions, feel free to tweet them at us at 49ers Hive or send us to them on Instagram, whatever the case is. Send them our way. We'd love to react to them during the week.
Yeah.
But we also do live stream.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries at all. We do live stream Saturday, previewing the game, Sunday, recapping the game. And we do live streams because we just really love interacting with you guys, taking questions, taking comments, whatever the case is. So we used to record these videos and put them out, but it's a lot more fun to do them live. So we appreciate all you guys tuning in. Moving forward, guys, we've been talking about this Patriots game. Is there any concern going over to the East Coast? Historically, West Coast teams not do well to the East Coast.
Oh, yeah. I don't like that turf. I don't like turf games in general. It's another West Coast to East Coast game. I think it's a 10 a.m. start, which is like not always ideal. And really, it's just, discipline for the team. Are they going to be feeling themselves after this win, or are they going to buckle down and use this as a jumping off point? So, it's really gonna depend on which team comes out. They need to come out of the gate quick like they did tonight, put 7 up on the board real quick and get out to a lead and establish, yourself as being there present in the game. Otherwise, with Belichick, nobody knows Jimmy Garoppolo better than Belichick. So if that gets away from them early, it could be a really ugly game for us.
Yeah, that's a good point, that nobody knows Jimmy better than Bill Belichick, because, heck, he drafted the guy and was anticipating him replacing Tom Brady in all likelihood. So he's going to have his hands full. Bill Belichick is a defensive mastermind. Anthony, for you real quick, we finally got our first win at home this year.
Finally.
How happy are you?
Podcast, man. We had talked about in the podcast how I didn't know if it was just the home environment, something that obviously I think home field advantage does play a factor into football. But they're pumping in crowd noise, so you already have the noise there as it is. But I think it's just a mindset for these guys, if you can go out to New York and kick the crap out of New York teams, you should be able to come back home on natural grass on your home field where you whooped ass last year and continue to kick it this year. And obviously they didn't do it up until tonight. So I don't want to say it's just a mental thing with these guys, maybe just a mental hurdle, but if they can just execute, if they can just realize that every football game is just another game, go out there, have fun, do what you're supposed to do and win, there should be no problems with this team moving forward.
Yeah, definitely not. Because as David Ye said, they're 2-0 on the East Coast, although it was to the 2 worst teams in the NFL. Today, the Pats didn't look too much better.
On the East Coast with the Jets and Giants is like beating a corpse in a foot race. It's nothing to really brag about.
Well, it's still, the time change, your body not used to it. There's other aspects that go into it. And, good teams win the games they're supposed to win. They were supposed to win those 2 games. At least they weren't close. I'll just say it at that. But if you guys don't have any questions for us, I think we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank you all for tuning in to our recap live stream here. Like I said, check out our YouTube show Tuesday through Friday. If you guys are here right now, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment below. And also, real quick, before every game, we do our preview show. If you guys correctly drop a comment with the final score, we'll send you some free merch. So if you see that preview live stream, drop a comment in the YouTube video and predict the score. If you get it correct, you get some free merch out of it. It doesn't hurt you. You can't lose that situation. So make sure you guys start predicting the score in those comments, because you could get some merch out of it. I don't think so. I'll go through and look it right now, but I don't think so.
Dang.
Yeah. But thanks, guys. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in. Make sure you follow 49ers Hive, subscribe to the channel.
Yep.
The whole 9 yards. But Matt, why don't you go ahead and close us out here?
Yeah, thanks again for joining us. We do this each and every week. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and follow us all on Twitter. You know where to find us. I mean, this is a great win for us. We're happy about it, and so we're gonna leave you with this. Click the bells for notifications. On to New England. So until next time, guys, go Niners.